Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In our last class, we discussed about the potential field due to a system of charges. When we have a system of charges, when we have a number of charges, how can we find the potential field due to those number of charges? Today, we will discuss about the potential gradient. That what is actually a potential gradient. So, we now have two methods of determining the potential. One directly from the electric field intensity by means of a line integral, and another from the basic charge distribution itself by a volume integral. But neither method is very helpful in determining the fields in most practical problems. However, for as we shall see later, neither the electric field intensity nor the charge distribution is very often known. As we already discussed, now we have two methods of determining the electric field, of determining the electric potential. We can find the electric potential directly from the electric field intensity. If the electric field intensity is given, by taking the negative line integral of the electric field intensity, we can determine the electric potential. Similarly, we can also find the electric potential from the charge distribution itself, if the charge distribution is given. So we can determine the potential by the charge distribution itself by taking the volume integral of the charge distribution if we have the volume charge distribution, or if we have the surface charge distribution, or if we have the line charge distribution, or if we have the number of charges, the system of charges, we can determine the electric potential by taking the volume integral if generally the volume charge distribution is given. So we have two methods of determining the electric potential. One directly from the charge distribution if the charge distribution is given, and the second method of determining the electric potential is by means of the electric field intensity if the electric field intensity is given. But remember that neither the electric field intensity is known nor the charge distribution is given. But in most practical problems, we can easily calculate the electric potential. So can we invert this equation? Is there any way to turn this equation? It means that to find the electric field intensity if the electric potential is given. Because we already discussed कि ना इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड इंटेंसिटी गिवन होता है और ना चार्ज डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हम इजीली फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं. बट रिमेंबर दैट इन मोस्ट इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक प्रैक्टिकल प्रॉब्लम्स जो इलेक्ट्रिक पोटेंशियल होता है उसको हम इजीली कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं, इजीली फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं एट डिफरेंट पॉइंट्स. सो इस इक्वेशन को हम इन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं, इस इक्वेशन को हम टर्न कर सकते हैं कि अगर इलेक्ट्रिक पोटेंशियल गिवन हो और उससे हम इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड intensity find out कर लें. Yes, we can find the electric field intensity from the electric potential by involving a new terminology, by inserting a new term, and that is the gradient. So what is actually a gradient? The gradient actually tells us, or the gradient actually shows the maximum space rate of change कि कौन से डायरेक्शन में इलेक्ट्रिक पोटेंशियल में मैक्सिमम चेंज आ रहा है, एंड दैट मैक्सिमम चेंज इन पोटेंशियल एक्चुअली रिप्रेजेंट्स द इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड इंटेंसिटी. सो लेट्स डिस्कस अबाउट दीज थिंग्स. सो neither method is very helpful in determining the fields in most practical problems. However, for as we shall see later, neither the electric field intensity nor the charge distribution is often known. Preliminary information is much more apt to consist of a description of two equipotential surfaces, such as the statement that we have two parallel conductors of circular cross section at potentials of 100 and minus 100 volts. If we have two parallel conductors of circular cross section, one is at 100 volts and the other is at minus 100 volts, and we wish to find the capacitance between the conductors or the charge and current distribution on the conductors from which losses may be calculated. So these quantities can be easily obtained if we wish to determine the current or charge distribution, or if we wish to find the capacitance between the conductors. So these quantities may be easily obtained from the potential field, and our immediate goal will be a simple method of finding the electric field intensity from the potential. A simple method of finding the electric field intensity from the potential. So we have to turn this equation. We have to invert this equation. And how can we invert this equation or turn this equation? By inserting a new terminology, by defining a new terminology, and that is the gradient of electric potential or the gradient of a scalar field. Remember that V is actually a scalar field and E is actually a vector field. So by applying the gradient on a scalar field, the result will be a vector field. We already have the general line integral relationship between these quantities, that the electric potential is actually the negative line integral of the electric field intensity. But this is much easier to use in the reverse direction, given E and find V. Like this equation 2 may be applied to a very short element of length delta L, along which E is essentially constant, leading to an incremental potential difference delta V. It means that if we have a short element of length delta L, along which E is essentially constant, so by taking the dot product of E and delta L, it will result in the potential difference del V between the initial and the final points of del L. So del V will be equal to minus E dot del L. Here is a dot product between E and del L. Let us explain this equation further. Let us see first if we can determine any new information about the relation of V to E from this equation. About the relation of V to E. It means that if V is given and we want to find out the electric field intensity, consider a general region of space as shown in the figure, in which E and V both change as we move from point to point. So we have the electric field lines, we have the electric field intensity, and we considered an incremental vector element of length delta L. So del L is actually a vector quantity. Its magnitude is given by del L, and AL is actually the direction of del L. So equation 3 tells us to choose an incremental vector element of length del L and multiply its magnitude by the component of E in the direction of AL to obtain the small potential difference between the initial and the final points of del L. So if we have del L and if theta is the angle between E and del L, so what will be the component of E along del L? That is E cos of theta. So del V will be equal to minus E del L cos of theta. I am repeating it again. We have the electric field intensity, we have the electric field lines, and I want to find out the potential difference between the initial and the final points of del L. So as there is a dot product in between the electric field intensity and del L, as the definition shows, as this equation shows, so I will take the component of E along the direction of del L in order to calculate this small potential difference between the initial and the final points of del L, or I will multiply the component of E with del L, which is in the direction of del L, to determine the small potential difference along this del L from the initial point to the final point. A vector element of length del L is shown making an angle of theta with an electric field. So we have the electric field and we have this small vector element of length del L indicated by its streamlines. So a vector incremental element of length del L is shown making an angle theta with an E field indicated by its streamlines. The sources of the field are not shown. So if we designate the angle between del L and E as theta, so del V will be equal to minus E del L cos of theta. Now how can we consider the derivative dV divided by dL? Remember that this V is actually a function of x, y and z coordinate. So we now wish to pass to the limit and consider the derivative dV by dL. Why? Because now we are slowly moving towards the maximum change. Now we are slowly moving towards the maximum space rate of change of potential, and then we will define the gradient. So for that we need to consider the derivative. We now wish to pass to the limit and consider the derivative dV by dL. To do so, we need to show that V may be interpreted as a function. V is a function of x, y and z. So far V is merely the result of the line integral. It means that by taking the negative line integral of the electric field intensity, we found the potential. If we assume a specified starting point and that starting point may be a zero reference, and then let our endpoint be x, y and z, we know that the result of the integration is a unique function of the endpoint x, y and z, because E is a conservative field. So therefore E is a single valued function. Therefore V is a single valued function. It means that V is a single valued function of x, y and z. We may then pass to the limit and obtain dV by dL is equal to minus E cos of theta. dV by dL. Actually, this dV by dL shows the change in V. The change in V along the x, y and z direction. And after that we will show that we will replace this dV by partial V if we consider the x, y and z direction particularly. So we will change this dV by dL by partial V by partial x, partial V by partial y, partial V by partial z, because V is a function of x, y and z. But from this equation we can see that dV by dL is equal to minus E cos of theta. Now when will this change be maximum? When will this change be maximum? When will dV by dL be maximum? So it will be maximum when cos of theta is equal to minus 1, because when we put the cos of theta is equal to minus 1 in this equation, we will get dV by dL is equal to E, and that is actually the maximum value. So when will this dV by dL be maximum? When cos of theta is equal to minus V, and it means that E will be opposite to the maximum rate of change of potential. It means that जिस डायरेक्शन में V में या पोटेंशियल में मैक्सिमम चेंज आ रहा है, तो E उसके अपोजिट डायरेक्शन में होगा, इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड इंटेंसिटी उसके अपोजिट डायरेक्शन में होगी. So let's see, in which direction should del L be placed to obtain a maximum value of del V? It means that we have del L, like if we look at this figure, कि कौन से डायरेक्शन में हम del L को प्लेस कर लें कि V में मैक्सिमम चेंज आ जाए. बिकॉज ऑलरेडी इसी फिगर में हमने ये डिस्कस किया था कि जब हम एक पॉइंट से दूसरे पॉइंट की तरफ मूव करते हैं तो E भी चेंज होगा और V भी चेंज होगा. लेकिन अब हम ये कहना चाह रहे हैं कि कौन से डायरेक्शन में V मैक्सिमम होगा, V में मैक्सिमम चेंज आएगा. अगर del L को हम किस डायरेक्शन में प्लेस कर लें कि v में maximum change आ जाए. So in which direction should del L be placed to obtain a maximum value of E? Remember that E is a definite value at the point at which we are working. E is a definite value and is independent of the direction of del L. The magnitude of del L is also constant. जो हमने incremental portion consider किया है del L का वो भी constant है. The only variable is AL. And what is AL? AL is actually the unit vector showing the direction of del L. So by changing the direction of del L or by changing AL, we can obtain the maximum positive increment of potential del V max. It is obvious that the maximum positive increment of potential del V max will occur when cos of theta is equal to -1 or del L points in the direction opposite to E. Cos of theta is equal to 1 और cos of theta is equal to -1 कब होगा? जब हम del L को E के opposite direction में point out कर लें. So for this condition dV divided by dL will be maximum when cos of theta is equal to -1 and it will result in dV by dL max is equal to E. And this little exercise shows us two characteristics of the relationship between E and V at any point. This equation actually shows us that the magnitude of the electric field intensity is given by the maximum value of the rate of change of potential with distance. मतलब जिस डायरेक्शन में पोटेंशियल में मैक्सिमम चेंज आ रहा है तो उससे हम इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड इंटेंसिटी का मैग्नीट्यूड निकाल सकते हैं by dividing that change of potential with that distance. So the magnitude of the electric field intensity is given by the maximum value of the rate of change of potential with distance. You will get to know about this point later. Now this maximum value is obtained when the direction of the distance increment is opposite to E, or in other words the direction of E is opposite to the direction in which the potential is increasing the most rapidly. ये बात ऑलरेडी हमने डिस्कस की कि इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड इंटेंसिटी की डायरेक्शन कौन सी होगी. इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड इंटेंसिटी का डायरेक्शन कौन सा होगा? that will be opposite to the potential difference. जिस डायरेक्शन में मतलब ये उसमें मैक्सिमम चेंज आ रहा है, जिस डायरेक्शन में पोटेंशियल में मैक्सिमम चेंज आ रहा है तो इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड इंटेंसिटी का डायरेक्शन उसके अपोजिट होगा. Let's discuss this point further. Let us now illustrate these relationships in terms of potential. Figure is intended to show the information we have been given about some potential difference. It does this by showing the equipotential surfaces. So we have the equipotential surfaces and we want to find out the electric field intensity at point P. We have the equipotential surfaces. It means that if we move along these surfaces, there will be no change in potential. Del V will be equal to 0. So if we place del L along this direction, it means that if we place del L along this direction, तो अगर हम del L को इसी डायरेक्शन में प्लेस कर ले तो V में मैक्सिमम चेंज आ रहा है. या if we consider this point and let's suppose the potential at this point is as we know that it is in between plus 50 and plus 60, so the potential at this point is, let's suppose, 52. So if we place del L along this direction, it means that the potential is changing from plus 52 to plus 60. Similarly, if we place del L along this direction, it is decreasing. It is going towards plus 40. Similarly, if we place del L along this direction, so it is increasing, but it is increasing from plus 52 to plus 80. Similarly, if we place del L along this direction, So along this direction of del L, there is a maximum change in V. The potential is increasing more rapidly. So अगर इसी डायरेक्शन में पोटेंशियल में रैपिड इंक्रीज आ रहा है, so the electric field intensity will be opposite to this direction. So this will be the direction of the electric field intensity. If there is a maximum change in potential along this direction, because it is increasing from plus 22 to plus 90, so the electric field intensity will be opposite to the direction of maximum change. So it will be along this direction. So this was actually the physical interpretation. We desire information about the electric field intensity at point P. Starting at point P, we lay off a small incremental distance del L in various directions, hunting for that direction in which the potential is changing the most rapidly. Lay off the small incremental length del L and hunting for that direction in which the potential is increasing the most rapidly. From the sketch, this direction appears to be left and slightly upward. This direction appears to be left and slightly upward. This is actually the left direction. So if we make it slightly upward, so this will be the direction of the potential along which the potential is increasing rapidly. So the electric field intensity will be towards the right and slightly downward. The electric field intensity will be towards the right and slightly downward. The electric field intensity is therefore oppositely directed or to the right and slightly downward. Its magnitude is given by dividing the small increase in potential by the small element of it. इसका मैग्नीट्यूड हम किस तरह फाइंड आउट करेंगे? बाय डिवाइडिंग द स्मॉल इंक्रीज इन पोटेंशियल. मतलब जितना हमने स्मॉल लेंथ लिया हुआ है और उसी लेंथ के अलॉन्ग जितना स्मॉल इंक्रीज आ रहा है, तो उसी इंक्रीज को जो हम उसी लेंथ पे डिवाइड कर लेंगे, इट विल गिव अस द मैग्नीट्यूड ऑफ द इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड इंटेंसिटी. It seems likely that the direction in which the potential is increasing the most rapidly is perpendicular to the equipotential. These are the equipotential lines. So जिस डायरेक्शन में V में मैक्सिमम चेंज आ रहा है, that is almost perpendicular to the equipotential. That is almost perpendicular to the equipotential. And this is correct because if del L is directed along the equipotential, अगर del L को हम along the equipotential direct कर ले, so there is no change in potential. And when there is no change potential, so this product will be zero. For if del L is directed along the equipotential, तो अगर del L को हम equipotential के along direct कर लें, so del V is zero as by definition of an equipotential surface. ये बात already हमने discuss की है कि जब हम along the equipotential surface move होते हैं तो potential में कोई change नहीं आएगा. जब potential में कोई change नहीं आएगा तो there will be zero potential difference. So here we prove that del V is equal to minus E dot dl and it is equal to 0. And since neither E nor del L is 0, E must be perpendicular to del E or perpendicular to the equipotential. अगर हम del L को along the equipotential surface लें, so E must be perpendicular to del L. As we showed here कि अगर E भी 0 नहीं हो सकता, del L भी 0 नहीं हो सकता, so it means that there must be an angle of 90 degree between E and del L to result in 0. क्यों? क्योंकि del L को हमने along the equipotential surface लिया हुआ है. So E must be perpendicular to del L to result in 0. Since the potential field information is more likely to be determined first, let us describe the direction of del L which leads to a maximum increase in potential mathematically in terms of the potential field rather than the electric field intensity. We do this by letting AN be a unit vector normal to the equipotential surface and directed along the higher potential. हमने क्या किया कि एक unit vector define कर लिया AN which is normal to the equipotential surface and which is directed toward the higher potential. So the electric field intensity is then expressed in terms of the electric potential. E will be equal to minus dV by dl maximum into AN. So it means that this electric field intensity has the normal direction. It means that the electric field intensity is normal to the equipotential surface, which shows that the magnitude of E is given by the maximum space rate of change of V, and the direction of E is normal to the equipotential surface. When there is a maximum space rate of change of V, it will give us the magnitude of the electric field intensity, and its direction is normal to the equipotential surface in the direction of decreasing potential. Since dV by dl max occurs when del L is in the direction of AN, we may remind ourselves of the fact by letting dV by dl max is equal to dV by dn. मतलब इसी टर्म को हमने dV by dn से रिप्लेस कर लिया. So E will be equal to minus dV by dn into A. The operation on V by which minus E is obtained is actually known as the gradient. And the gradient of a scalar field T, मतलब अगर हम एक general scalar field T ले, T may be the temperature distribution in a room, or T may be the potential at a point. So the gradient of T is equal to dt by Tn dn into An. So remember that the operation on V by which minus E is obtained is known as the gradient, and the gradient of a scalar field is defined as, this is actually the gradient of V, dV by dn into A. So E will be equal to minus gradient of V. That is why I told you in the start that we can determine the electric field intensity from the electric potential by inserting some new terminology, and that is the gradient. So the gradient actually shows the maximum rate of change in a scalar quantity. So the gradient of a scalar field actually results in a vector field, where AN is a unit vector normal to the equipotential surface. We already discussed this point, and that normal is chosen which points in the direction of increasing values of T. So using this new term, we now may write the relation between V and E as E is equal to minus gradient of V, because E is equal to minus gradient of V. The gradient of V is, we defined the gradient of T, the gradient of a scalar field T. So the gradient of a scalar field T is equal to dt by dn into An. So the gradient of a scalar field V will be equal to dV by dn into An. So E will be equal to minus gradient of V. Since we have shown that V is a unique function of x, y and z, we may take its total differential dV will be equal to partial v by partial x into dx plus partial v by partial y into dy plus partial v by partial z into dz. But we also have dv is equal to minus E dot dl. So it will be equal to minus Ex dx minus Ey dy minus Ez dz if we compare these two relations. Since both expressions are true for any dx, dy and dz, if we look at this expression, actually partial v by partial x represents the rate of change along the x direction. It actually represents the slope, and dx actually represents the change. So the total change in v along the x direction, the total change in v along the y direction, the total change in v along the z direction, and if this slope is maximum, it will give us the gradient. The maximum change in v along the x direction, the maximum change in the function v along the y direction, the maximum change in v along the z direction. So Ex will be equal to minus partial by partial x of v, Ey will be equal to minus partial by partial y of v, and similarly we have Ez. So if we combine these three equations, we will get these results may be combined vectorially to yield E will be equal to minus partial v by partial x of ax plus partial v by partial y ay plus partial b by partial z is. Why we put partial x partial y partial z? Because v is a function of x, y and z, and if we want to see the change along the x direction, so we will take the partial differential along the x, similarly the partial differential along the y, and similarly the partial differential along the z. And comparison of 7 and 8 provides us with an expression which may be used to evaluate the gradient in Cartesian coordinates. So the gradient of v will be equal to partial v by partial x into ax plus partial v partial y ay. So v is actually a scalar field, and the gradient of v is actually results in a vector field. So if we apply a gradient over a scalar field, the result will be a vector quantity. So if we take the negative gradient of electric potential, it will result in the electric field intensity, because the gradient actually represents the maximum change in V, and the maximum change in V results in the electric field intensity. The gradient of a scalar is a vector, and all quizzes show that the unit vectors which are often incorrectly added to the divergence expression appears to be those which are incorrectly removed from the gradient, because the result of divergence actually gives us the scalar quantity. So there will be no unit vectors. Similarly, the result of a gradient is actually a vector quantity, so there will be unit vectors. In the gradient operation, there will be unit vectors. Once the physical interpretation of the gradient is grasped as showing the maximum space rate of change of a scalar quantity and the direction in which this maximum occurs, the vector nature of the gradient should be self-evident. The vector operator del may be used formally as an operator on a scalar t del t, producing del t is equal to this term, the gradient of a scalar field. So this is actually a vector operator. If we take the dot product of this vector operator with another vector, the result will be a divergence. Similarly, अगर हम इसी vector operator को एक scalar field पे apply कर लें, the result will be a gradient. I am repeating it again. If we take the dot product of this vector operator with another vector field, the result will be a divergence.